Hello, everyone. It is Monday, July 7th, 2025. Despite the fact that the puzzle that I have up says Sunday, July 6th, 2025, and that's because I'm going to try something different today. I did the puzzle yesterday, though I didn't record it. I didn't have time or the right place. And I wasn't planning on posting it, except that I enjoyed it a lot, and B, did it quite quickly. I set a personal best for Sundays with a time of 15 minutes and 27 seconds, which my average time for Sundays is around 40 minutes, so that's really fast, even for me. And so I thought I would try something different and solve this again. Just to sort of walk through it and just sort of marvel at its awesomeness. But so I'm gonna do that for you. I let me know what you think of doing something like this, revisiting a puzzle that I've already done. I'll try not to. I might try and do sort of some of the smaller clues first, and avoid the bigger ones until closer to the end, kind of to mimic what I would have done in real time. But anyway, let's see how it goes. So this is, I'm gonna reset this puzzle here and start from the top. Okay. Philosopher who wrote, "The bureaucracy is a circle from which no one can escape." I didn't get this one right away, so I'm gonna skip it for now. I thought maybe either thus or ergo. Turns out to be ergo. Blank folder. This looks like it's probably going to be a folder in a email box, so probably spam. It could be sent as well, but it turns out to be spam. A Sphinx site. The Sphinx is located in Giza, along with the pyramids in Egypt. Prevailing fashion. I actually don't remember what that is off the top of my head. The only major Texas city not in the central time zone. Also didn't get this right away. Substance that's used by cellists and gymnasts is rosin, which sort of makes either your bow or your hands sort of sticky and grippy so that they don't slip off of whatever they're holding, the string in the case of the cello bow, or the whatever gymnastics equipment. Journey in which you might carry quite a load, question mark. This is a bit of wordplay. What they want here is guilt trip, which I did get pretty early on, not quite this quickly, but has too much for short. We're looking for an abbreviation here. It looks like overdoses, ODs, has too much. Cranked up to 11, say, this puzzled me for a second because I thought it was the verb form. If you cranked something up to 11, I was looking for a past tense verb there, but it is in fact cranked up, so a passive participle there. Cranked up to 11 would match the adjective loud. Pitchfork-shaped letters in the Greek alphabet. These are the letter psi. So in plural, this would be size. Post, either to post or post as a noun, could mean mail. And then this eventually looked like it was going to be El Paso in Texas. Famous movement and hashtag of the late 2010s is the Me Too movement and hashtag. Let's go up here. Beach bottle initials on a bottle of sunblock. You might see SPF, the sun protection factor. Italian seasoning. I don't even remember what this ended up being. What about this? Ward off. To ward off is to fend off. A reminder that the off in parentheses there indicates that it's going to be used by both the clue and the entry. So ward off, fend off. Breathing problem at night would be apnea, sleep apnea. Oh, that's right. Italian seasoning is pepe, which is the Italian word for pepper, ground black pepper, as in the cacio e pepe, cheese and pepper style of pasta. One time wealthiest family in Europe, the Medicis, who sponsored a lot of great art. Princess portrayed by Carrie Fisher, Princess Leia from the Star Wars universe. Unwanted growth in fish tanks is algae. How about up here? kind of joke or a response to a really bad one. A gag could be a joke. A gag, you could also gag at a, that's not a good joke like that. Manga's film counterpart, a manga being in print form, the film counterpart would be anime. Both sort of graphic storytelling from Japan. Rigatoni relative is ziti, another kind of pasta there, another Italian food clue. Cupid's domain is amor, love. I don't know that there's necessarily... I guess Cupid is the Italian or Latin version of the name of that deity. Eros would be the Greek version. I would have wanted Cupidus or something for Latin, but maybe it's just Cupid in Italian. Anyway, it's a little bit misleading because Cupid is indeed what we call that character in English as well. And so not a lot to tell you that the answer is going to be in Italian or Latin, but there it is. Predator with a big mouth informally is a gator. Before, poetically, is the word heir. Heir in poetry, often a short form for before. Send from bank to bank is a wire, as in wire transfer. Revering could be in awe of. Always a little bit tricky when you have a clue where the part of speech, not only the part of speech, but also the number of words involved is not necessarily easily divined from the clue, and that's the case here. Dishonorable, this also got me for a second, but very quickly ended up with ignoble, which is not a word you see a lot, but you do see it in the Ig Nobel Prizes, which is a sort of a spoof prize, set of prizes awarded, sort of analogous to the Nobel Prizes, but for, I don't remember if it is for achievements in science, but maybe achievements that came about through ignoble means or unintentionally or something silly like that. Anyway, it's pretty fun. If you haven't heard of the Ig Nobel Prizes, go and check those out. Awaiting renters. So I think this ended up being unlet or something like that. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, to let is to rent, and if an apartment is let, and this is a sort of Britishism to say that it has been rented, so an apartment that has not been rented is unlet. Bruce Wayne's butler in the Batman series franchise is Alfred. Wonderlands, I questioned this once. I did get it right away as Edens, paradises. Paradises can be synonymous with Wonderlands, and paradises can be synonymous with Edens, but I feel like that's kind of a step too far to get from Wonderlands to Edens, but it is a Sunday puzzle, so I guess I'll let it go. And similarly, I guess this is another way that you can get this one, 44 down, is by this one. Fruit picker of old is Eve, who plucked the apple from the tree of knowledge in the Bible, and that would lead you to Edens as well. Imposed as a fine, the word levied is the word to impose, or imposed is specifically to do with fines. A word with bullet or toilet. So I got this right away, but I actually still don't understand. The answer is train. I know what a bullet train is. I don't know what a toilet train. Oh, it's a toilet train. I just got it. Haha. Okay. So not a noun, but to a verb, as in to potty train. Okay. Very good. Country's music star with 24 number one singles and an eponymous sitcom. I needed some crosses for this, but I'm just going to put it in because I did get it pretty quickly. It's Reba. I think Reba McEntire is who that is. Squeaks by is eeks by. I wasn't saying these aloud when I filled this out initially, so I didn't even realize that rhymed. But to eke by is to sort of scrape by, usually better, more appropriately than squeaks by. But there it is. Physique informally is your bod, your sort of physical shape. Closest world capital to Miami turns out to be Nassau. Oops, hello. There we go. Nassau in the Bahamas. Pretty interesting that because Miami is so far down the Florida, whatever the heck that thing is called. Is that the Panhandle? No, the Panhandle is up top. The bulbous, sticky outy bit, the peninsula, I guess. because Miami is so far down that it's actually quite far away from any of the American capitals, including across the Gulf of Mexico into, is it Dallas the capital or Austin the capital of Texas? Ugh, my brain is not into capitals right now. Anywho, a bit of chia or hemp is a seed, a chia seed, hemp seed. Museo display. Again, we're looking for an Italian answer here. So the answer is going to be arte in an art museum, or a piece of art in any museum. Where the Hills Are Alive in song, from The Sound of Music. This is in Austria, is where Maria is singing that song. Or at least in the Alps. I guess it must have been in Austria, assuming she didn't cross a border to go to her happy place. Degree with courses on accounting and management is an MBA, Masters of Business Administration. Liberty Mutual's bird mascot, only one bird I can think of that ends in a U and 3 letters, is an emu. Does turn out to be correct. Muck, I think this ended up being Meyer. Yeah, I believe that was correct. Children's author Blyton, I've come across this in the crossword a few times before. It's Enid Blyton. Hero, or where to find many naval heroes. I didn't understand this clue until after I filled it in. It is very obviously submarine. Where to find many naval heroes makes sense on its own, but then I realized afterwards a hero is another word for a submarine sandwich. And to tattle is to name names, which is a pretty fun. I've not seen that in the crossword before. That's cool. Blank particle with this many crosses in, the only thing it could be is tau. These particles usually named alpha particle, beta particle, gamma particle after Greek letters. So tau was the one that fits here. I wish I could blank that. Again, using the crosses, this turns out to be unsee. I wish I could unsee that. Burned rubber, as in if you accelerated quickly in a car, it could be said to have peeled out. Lover of Shakespeare, not someone who loves Shakespeare, but a lover created by Shakespeare, is Romeo. A flock formation, a flock of birds this time, not a flock of sheep, as in the last puzzle that I posted. This is a V, a flock of geese fly in a V shape. To put something you can put a pin in, so if you see a clue like this that has a pronoun like it in it, you're looking for the thing that it could be. So in this case, a pin you might put into an ATM, and pin being sort of an acronym, you're looking, or it's a clue that the entry might be an acronym as well. Hauled, if you hauled something around, you toted it around. With boo, it evokes sadness. With woo, it evokes happiness. Boo-hoo or woo-hoo would give you those things. And I'll fill in this first long one now here. Is completely oblivious. I'm going to ignore the hint part until we get to the end, but is completely oblivious. We've got enough crosses here to put in doesn't have a clue. Typical patty melt specification. I did need a few more crosses than this to get this, but I got it pretty quickly. Is on rye, a melt sandwich, or any kind of sandwich you could request to be on rye bread. Mario's dinosaur sidekick, Yoshi. Credit card checkout option. You could pay by tapping your credit card. Moolah is a slang way of saying money, and another slang way of saying money, borrowed, I believe, from either Spanish or Portuguese, is dinero. Midnight's Children author, 1981, is Salman Rushdie. Wrote that Booker Prize-winning novel, which I have tried at least a couple of times to get through and made it most of the way through on my best attempt, and didn't quite finish it. Sadly, it's a really, really fascinating novel, but just ran out of time and then forgot what happened, which is what happens to me when I put a book down. Depleted as savings. If you depleted your savings account, or your savings, you might have been said to have eaten into it. So ate into. Meeting for short. A meeting could be a session or a sesh. Number 2's in brief. This took me a while to get. I'll maybe skip that for now. Toddler's demand. I don't remember what that was. Board game recommendation. I don't know. Spot markers. You mark the spot with an X. So those are X's. And then this looks like the philosopher Karl Marx, which makes sense. Writing to criticize the bureaucracy. Prevailing fashion then is going to be vogue. If something is in vogue, it is in the prevailing fashion. Number 2 is in brief are VPs, vice presidents. Its freedom is granted in the First Amendment, freedom of the press. Toddler's demand could be more, I want more. And board game recommendation could be the ages for which that game is recommended. Battle between Verizon and AT&T, for example, competing companies might have an ad war. This we've seen a couple of times recently in the grid. Subject of arms talks might be weapons of mass destruction, in other words, nuclear weapons. Popular chocolate biscuit from Down Under. Apparently, I read the wordplay column by the New York Times where writers and crossword solvers and crossword constructors solve the puzzle and sort of talk about it afterwards and give you some examples of tricky clues. The person who wrote the wordplay for this found this one tricky because they hadn't heard of this particular cookie, but I have. This is a Tim Tam, which is delicious. Actually, you can find them here now. Make amends for is to atone for. Again, the bracket meaning you'll want the for on the answer as well to be usable. Tennis is Nadal to fans. Rafael Nadal, often called Rafa as a nickname. Place for a pew. Initially, I solved this the other way around and had apps in here, but there are 2 very common architectural, sacred architectural entries that find their way in the New York Times crosswords. This one is the other one. It's a nave. Channel with the one-time motto on cable in stereo. This is MTV, insinuating not only the picture is there, but also the audio of the music. Trickster of Greek myth. This is Hermes, the god analogous to Mercury in the Roman myth, who was not a trickster in the same way as Loki in Roman myth, in that's sort of Loki's primary characteristic is that he's a trickster. Hermes or Mercury. Hermes is primarily the messenger of the gods, but is involved in a number of stories involving deception or trickery. Make calls on one's cell phone abroad. You could be roaming in order to do that. Remove from power is to oust, as in a leader. Blank mater, your alma mater, the school which you graduated from. Personal appearance. I somehow got this right away just from the, I think I actually had the last letter, not the first one, because I was solving it the other way around, but this is your mien. And I don't know how else to explain what that is. Your look or your appearance is the only way I know how to explain it. Star of Marvel's first film with an Asian-led cast is the great Canadian Simu Liu. Japanese honorific is san. You might add san at the end of somebody's name to show respect. Blank be a shame. It'd be a shame. It would be a shame in abbreviation. Washington and Franklin could be statesmen. And breaking maneuver. This one I didn't understand until after I filled it all in either, but this was referring to break dancing. So a handstand could be a breaking maneuver. Here's another theme clue. The Little Mermaid hit, and I'll look at the hints at the end, but The Little Mermaid, the famous song from that, is Under the Sea. Here's another theme clue here. Final stop. Final stop. I initially had end of the line, but it turns out this is actually end of the road. I figured that out quite quickly as I went through these crosses. This doesn't have a clue. When there's a dash like this in the clue, it means there is no clue and you're supposed to get it from somewhere else. In this case, you're supposed to get it from the crosses, but it's important that this one doesn't have a clue. Bobby of the Boston Bruins, famous hockey player Bobby Orr. Philosopher's way. The way is a Taoism, and literally Tao means the way. Add up to is total. And wipe from memory is erase. Wipe as from memory is to erase. Stat, you could say if you want something stat, you want it ASAP, as soon as possible, right away. Preceded with to, led up to. So as opposed to the clues that have a word in parentheses, in this case, when it says with, that means only the answer will take that a word in quotation marks, but not the clue. So the clue by itself is just preceded, but the answer is led up and then with to. Led up to is the same as preceded. Ritzy could be posh. Ran smoothly as an engine. You can say an engine purred if it was running very smoothly. Cone's partner is a rod in your eye. Rods and cones. That appeared again in the last one that I did a few days ago. Gave a red card informally. I don't remember what this was. What about this? Mimicked. Often this clue is this word is used to clue the entry aped. To ape something is to mimic it. State for snowbirds. Maybe not so much anymore, but Florida, the stereotypical state for snowbirds, particularly from Canada, but also from the northern United States. Alley blank, alley-oop, a basketball shot involving two people. Function, an item's function, an object's function could be its use. To become discouraged is to lose heart. Home of the world's tallest building in Dubai, the Burj Khalifa, is the United Arab Emirates. Odd pair took me a while to get. Alternative to truth is dare in the game, truth or dare. And applies as influence is exerts. You can exert your influence. So a kid's ball game being played on a court. So this took me a while to get, but I dug way back in my memory and remembered that on our playgrounds when we were kids, we had a game that nobody understood how to play. And the name of that game was Foursquare. I still could not tell you to this day how you played that game. But then this becomes, gave a red card becomes DQ'd in past tense. And after I filled this in, I understood what they were asking for in this clue is the pair of letters in the word odd, D's. Tricky. Painter Magritte is René Magritte. It often comes out at night. This one took me a while, but I did eventually get denture. Your denture, if you're wearing a denture, it might come out at night. Big Boomer for short is a TNT, dynamite. Word after man of the or top of the, man of the hour, top of the hour, oops. And element in strobe lights apparently is xenon. To sign up is to enroll, as in a course. Actress Falco of The Sopranos is Edie Falco. Low fat, as in low fat meat, could be lean meat. Organization concerned with ozone depletion is the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, though, again, maybe not so much anymore. Sousaphone, for example, is an example of a horn. Oops. Sorry. Was out of sight. Perhaps if you're playing a children's game, you hid. If I was out of sight, I hid. Blank-eyed. I had something different in here for a while, but eventually the crosses led me to the right answer, which is wide-eyed here. One taking the words right out of your mouth could be a lip reader. Words in front of a minister or a judge. You could say I do in front of a minister or a judge. Cat scanner. This one I needed the crosses, unfortunately. I should have gotten this just by itself, but it's a vet. Someone who might perform a scan on a cat is a vet. CPR sites, emergency rooms. A lot of CPR actually happens sort of in situ, not once you get to the ER, but before you're taken to the ER. Purchases from florists. You could buy pots to house your flowers. And there's a famed street in Beverly Hills is Rodeo Drive. Negative reputation informally could be a bad rap. I was solving this again the other way around from the top down. So I thought it could be bad rap or bad rep, and so I had put all the letters in except the A, but then Lip Reader gave me the A. Like witches and gourds. Both witches and gourds could have warts. They could be warty. A fur coat, a little bit of wordplay here. A fir tree could be coated in bark. Person everyone's talking about, or what you'll be after unlocking the lock and completing this puzzle, is a breakout star. And I'll just pause here now that we're almost done the puzzle to point out that the title of the puzzle is Escape Room. And so that lends a little bit more weight to this. What you'll be after unlocking the lock and completing this puzzle. You could be a breakout star because you could have broken out of this escape room puzzle. Let's see. This blank mahal is the Taj Mahal, the landmark in Agra in India, a place appropriately found in the phrase "gets pampered." If you look across the middle of between the two words, SPA, a spa is a place where you could get pampered. Split up is apart. If you are split up from someone, you are apart from them. An M&M color replaced by blue in 1995, I didn't know this, is tan, and that makes of extremely unreliable quality in slang, janky. But wait, we're not done. I'm going to go back to the theme clues here. So there's 4, as you'll see, there's about 69 down here is in the middle of the puzzle and has, it just says insert key here. But in order to find the key, you need to go to these clues, and the clues are not that easy. A hint to finding the first key letter in this puzzle, end of the road. What does that mean? And so you end up having to look. There's a road in this puzzle. The road is Rodeo Drive. And so the end of this road is the letter E. And so the first letter in our key is the letter E. Where's the second one here? Down here. Third. Lost it. Here it is. Kids ball game, played on a court, or a hint to finding the second key letter in this puzzle. And the thing says Foursquare. So you actually got to look up here at the square that has a 4 in it. And the letter ends up being X. And so the second letter in this clue is X. And you can probably see where this is going, but let's keep solving. The Little Mermaid hit, or a phonetic hint of finding the third key letter in this puzzle, under the C. And phonetically, then you're looking for something that's under the letter C. And it turns out there's only one C in this entire grid if you've solved it properly. It's right here. And the letter under the letter C is the letter I, so you're looking for I here. And finally, is completely oblivious, or a hint to finding the fourth key letter in this puzzle, doesn't have a clue. And you're looking for the clue, the answer, the entry in this crossword that doesn't have a clue. You remember a 76 across didn't have a clue, it just had a dash. And we had to solve the word T from the crosses. And so the last letter in this exit, the last letter in this key answer is T, making the word exit. And it is the word exit that allows us to break out of this escape room. So a really, really interesting idea. This is a puzzle by Zhou Zhang and Kevin Curry, who I learned are a married couple. And it was Zhou's idea to have this key and lock and key idea. You can even see the middle of the puzzle is shaped like a key, like a door sort of plaque with a keyhole in the middle. And this 69 down, the clue is positioned as if you're entering a key, as if you're inserting a key into the lock, which is, it's such a brilliant idea. And I felt the clues here to allow you to get the 4 letters were just the right amount of tricky to be able to, I mean, once you got a couple of them, you kind of saw where it was going, but just, even when I did it the first time, I wanted to sort of solve all of these on their own. So we had, what did we have here? Where was the first one? Oh yeah, end of the road here to get the last letter in Rodeo Drive. And we had Foursquare here to get the X from the Foursquare here, and then under the C to get the I from under the only C in the grid, and then doesn't have a clue to get the T from this entry without a clue for it. So really I just really enjoyed solving this puzzle, and I hope that you enjoyed watching me go through it. I know it's not quite as fun watching me not watching me struggle to get some of this stuff, but I promise you, this time through, for whatever reason, I really did not struggle much. I was able to do this quite quickly, so I figured this would be a good one to sort of redo. And I hope you enjoyed that. I am going to try and do today's puzzle as well. I'll get this up right away, and then I'll do the other one in a little bit. Yeah, until then, hope you're enjoying your day, and we'll see you on the next time. Cheers.